My dear students, good morning. You are in the online classroom of Dr. Anita Ghosh, HOD of English RDS College, Muzaffarpur. Students, we are passing through a critical phase of lockdown caused by the threat of the coronavirus. This is the worst of its kind, a medical emergency all over the world as caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are restricted to the self-alienation, yet, dear students, we are not away from you. We are connected with each other through these online classes. Today, I am going to deliver my lecture on Silence Tapes by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, with all the splendor of his many-sided genius, is not merely a poet but a phenomenon. Here is God's plenty. That is exactly our impression when we look at his seer-like figure, read his poems enormous in number, listen to his thousands of exquisite songs nearer to our heart, and go through his more than 100 short stories exceeding human in appeal. And in addition to it, he is a great novelist and dramatist, a good painter, and a notable educationalist and patriot. Except Leonardo da Vinci of Italy, we don't know of anyone having equal amplitude of mind. As a poet, Rabindranath Tagore has unique vision. He has absorbed thought and emotions and ideals that embody the finest elements of our national genius. To read his poetry is to know the quintessence of the Vedas and the Upanishads. His lyrics combine intense emotion and lofty idealism with incomparable music, whether they are poems of nature or of human love or of divine love. The poetic career of Rabindranath Tagore is at par with that of W.B. Yeats. There was a gradual development of his poetic talent that is full fruition and then branching out to different blossoming areas. To the call of the new, he was never slow to respond. Like Yeats, Tagore lived in the ivory towers of his dreams in his early poetry up to the period when he wrote Shonartori, but after Chitra and Balaka, onward his poetry was alive with down-to-earth reality. Hundreds of brilliant shaw, long and short, plucked out of his spar, carrying the vital rhythm of life. And when the call of country came, Tagore never hesitated to respond with all the living fire of his genius. No poet could awaken the national sense in such a moving way as he had done. The later poetry of Tagore is full of international humanism and anti-war sentiments. His crisis in civilization touched his sensitive heart with agony, and he was never tired of giving warning to the nations. The unique thing in Tagore's poetry stirs our soul very much. Now the poem, The Silence Tape, it is an exclusively subjective poem with the poet's heart reaching out to God. Tagore is drunk with mystical vision throughout Gitanjali. Mysticism is in truth a limper rather than a doctrine, an inner perception rather than a system of philosophy. It is an attitude of mind founded upon an imitative and experienced conviction of God's closeness to man. It is an awareness of humanity and divinity dwelling side by side. Tagore, the mystic, here was caught glimpses of the face of the Supreme Being at different angles transformed by divine emotions. Blake, the mystic, feels the same when he writes, "Whole infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour." And O world, Francis Thompson, the mystic, experiences the same thing when he says, O world invisible be thee, O world intangible we touch thee, O world unknowable we clutch thee. Now, Silence Tapes is one of the Tagore's representative poems. It is a poem that is addressed to God, to divinity, to the creator of this universe. People to generally think that God is invisible and that he cannot be seen with physical eyes. There can never be any doubt about God's physical presence. However, the basic truth about God is that His presence can be felt, experienced, and realized. This realization of divinity requires a certain kind of and level of spiritual cultivation and richness. That is why a large number of poets, philosophers, and saints have been able to experience and realize God's presence. Divine presence is a matter of feeling of response, of commitment to certain values. Tagore is one such poet who, by virtue of his spiritual vision, has experienced and felt and realized God's presence in this universe. God made His presence felt through music, through nature, through sorrow, as well as through happiness. This is precisely what R. Tagore says in the poem Silent Steps. Have you not heard his silent steps? He comes, comes, ever comes. Every moment and every age, every day and every night, he comes, comes, and ever comes. Many a song have I sung in many a mood of time, but all their notes have always proclaimed, He comes, comes, ever comes. In the fragrant days of sunny April through the forest, but He comes, comes, ever comes. In the rainy gloom of July nights on the thundering chariot of clouds, He comes, comes, ever comes. In sorrow after sorrow, it is His steps that press upon my heart, and it is the golden touch of His feet that makes my joy to sound. Now, the song reintegrates God's eternal presence. God comes to His devotee every moment, every season, in every age. His silent steps are always at work, and He comes on the chariot of clouds. His touch fills the human heart with joy. According to the poet, God is present everywhere and every time. It is all pervading. General people who have no spiritual vision or insight may not hear the sound of God's steps because those steps are silent. This explains the appropriateness of the title of the present poem. However, the poet affirms that God comes to us, is always with us, and it requires a certain kind of spiritual training to realize His presence. He is present every moment, every day, and every night, all the time. Tagore says that he has written a large number of poems, chiefly lyrics or songs in different moods, but all the poems contain one and only a note that relates to the permanent and eternal presence of God in its universe. In the poet's view, God makes His presence felt through the fragrance and beauty of nature in the month of April, which is spring season, when everything is so bright and colorful. God does also manifest Himself through the dense darkness of July nights when it keeps up thundering and raining for most of the time. The poet says in the positive terms that he has felt God's presence in times of sorrow and grief. However, he loses no time in telling us that it is God's presence once again and that has given him the happiness, the joy, and nourished him in this moment of sadness. In this present poem, Tagore expresses his personal feelings and realization in respect of God. Silent Steps is not quite a religious poem because it doesn't deal with religious beliefs or theories. It is first and last personal poem that is subjective in nature. We may say that Silent Steps is a hymn to God, that it is a form of prayer. In any case, it is a mystical poem which deals with God's presence everywhere, all the times, and all the man's closeness to God. According to the poet, humanity and divinity can hardly be separated from each other. It appears to us that the present poem contains lines that are read like prose sentence, but this poem has been written in free verse or verse labor. Silent Steps contains a few images such as rainy gloom, the thundering chariot of clouds, and the golden touch of his feet. It's a poem of affirmation. Thank you.